Welcome back to Yostbuilt, and hope you guys are having a great night. So tonight what we are going to get into is a step-by-step process on how to install a set of BC BR coilovers on your 95 to 99 Neon. This example right here is a 1995 NYG 4-door Neon. If you guys don't know what NYG is, it is neon yellow green. It's a very rare color. I think there was like 400 and something of them made. This one already has a carbon fiber hood that we've put on it. Neon RT wheels. We did a full second gen Neon RT interior swap. So it's kind of like a SRT4 interior. Very clean. The car is a winter beater car that we bought just so we aren't tearing up our other cars in the snow during the winters in Pennsylvania. But of course, we can't leave anything alone here at Yostbuilt. So we already got the carbon hood for it. We already got the interior swap for it. We got these BC coilovers off of this car that we purchased just for the BC coilovers. We kind of got the car for free if you consider the price of what BC coilovers would cost. So we're going to get into the step-by-step video on how to install these. And we also, of course, to do this properly, you need camber bolts for the front and the rear. And these are made by SPC, Specialty Products Company. And this is how you actually properly adjust the camber on the front and rear of your Neon. So without further ado, let's get right into the video and hope you guys enjoy. Your first step, always get under the car, right up under the front motor mount right here. Jack the car up. The next thing, remove all 4 wheels and tires. Now that you have all 4 wheels off, you need to open the trunk and open the hood to access the upper bolts, and you need to access the lower bolts, and you need to remove the brake line. On the trunk or on the rear of the car, if you have a system or something like that, you need to slide it to the middle. You need to take these factory panels and push them down to access the 4 bolts for the uppers and the rear. And now let's get to finding the sizes for the OEM equipment so I can let you guys know what size wrenches and sockets you will need. Alright guys, so for the top strut bolts, you are going to need your 15mm, and then for the lower, you're going to need your 18 for the top and your 21 for the bottom. So what I always do first is release the brake line, which is a 10mm. And then I release these 2, leave the stud in there, just take the nut off, and then release all 3 of these, just so you know that, nothing's going to break or fall or anything. And then get to taking these studs out and then taking those out completely. And I will put you guys on the head cam and do this process. All right, so as you guys seen, that bolt snapped. But once you get them out and you get the tops out, literally all you do is just push and separate. Make sure your brake line's not stuck. Slide this to the side, drop that down. This is really hard to do with one hand. And Oh, I'm hitting on the top. Push this way and pull. There's your factory front strut, and here is your BC equivalent. So you can see the difference right there. That's going to be the drop on the front. Now let's get to the back. Alright guys, so on installing the front coilovers, you want to slide the BCs up in place on the front. You want to put your 3 15mm bolts back in place. You want to slide a jack under the lower control arm, and then you want to slowly lift this up. It might be enough. Maybe not. There you go. You want to slowly lift it up and slide this together. Your factory bigger bolt, which is a 21mm, has this little plate right here. Your camber adjustment bolts go on the top always, but you need to put this in place. This is like a factory thing to strengthen it up, and just slide your nut on. And then once you have this lower one on, this lower bolts are actually like studs. They're threaded on the ends, and once you tap that in place, it kind of holds this all in place, so it can't really move. And then you can stick your upper bolts in and do your camber adjustment however you want to set up your car. Alright guys, so an easy ghetto alignment step is, as long as you have the car evenly up on jack stands on a flat floor, you can use any piece of metal that has a nice 90-degree cut in it. You can literally press it against here, and if you hold it solidly against here, you can see the gap right here on the floor on my finger. That is your camber adjustment. So cars will naturally camber in as you lower them. So literally all you want to do is use this camber adjustment bolt that I showed you guys earlier, and you can just keep rotating it, and you'll see the caliper move in, well, the rotor move in. And if you do this just right, you should be able to get like this, push this down on the ground and get this nice and square so that you can't see anything under this plate. Right now we actually have positive camber because you can see a little gap right there on the plate. So we're going to put it like this. Take this camber bolt, take the preload out of it, push this little thing right here up, and then we need that socket, because once we get this set so it's good like that, you just want to take this and tighten it up with the gun real quick. But you want to make sure you hold everything in place so you don't change your adjustment you just did. And there is a torque spec on these, which is like 92 foot-pounds. And then once you're done, just hold it against there. See, there's no gaps at the bottom. So you should naturally have 0 camber when it's up in the air. And then once you lower the car, you'll get about a degree of camber, which OEM is positive 1.5 to negative 1.5. So this will give you good enough to get it to the alignment shop and get it professionally done, but at least for now you'll be able to drive it. Alright guys, I don't know how you're going to see this on the video, but the neon green paint does help. But you take off these 4 13mm bolts on the top, and then down here on the bottom, they are, I think, 15 and 18. The small side of the bolt is a 15, the large side of the bolt is an 18, and then you can remove the rear strut. Start them. They're right there on the floor. Right there.
Are the right ones?
Yep. So guys, another thing we're adding to this car that I didn't have before is these factory RT cars come with a rear sway bar. So not only is this car going to have a set of BC coilovers now, it is also going to have a rear sway bar that it's never had before in its life. So it's probably going to be way too stiff and handle way too well for its own good, but we will see. Slide that through there, and the rear sway bar on these cars are super simple. It's literally just this bracket right here, and your actual coilover bolts hold it in place. The front end is definitely not low enough, and the rear end is still almost stock height. So now we're gonna get into the process of adjusting everything. This is probably gonna be 2 or 3 hours. I'll come back to you guys once I'm done. All right, guys, this is gonna be the end of the video, and it has now been like 2 hours. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. We got started on this thing when there was daylight outside. And like I was explaining to my brother, and like I would love to explain to everyone about how coilovers work and everything like that, is you do not adjust a coilover, a full one-piece coilover, by adjusting the spring. You adjust a one-piece coilover by adjusting the lower piece and then turning the coilover down into it like a large screw. If you adjust the 2 rings that hold the spring up to the top of the coilover, you are modifying the spring rate. You are not modifying the height. I don't know how many times I have to tell people that. It is like, I guess the most go-to thing is just to adjust the spring to adjust the height. When you're adjusting the spring, you're adjusting the spring rate. You're going to make it not ride like it was intended to. My brother just took it down the road, and he said that it rides like stock suspension, and this car is now at 1 3/4 inches from the ground to the fender lip. Whereas before, it was a monster truck. You guys seen it at the beginning of the video. It was way up off the ground. And the camber, I'll show you myself. Look at the camber in the rear wheel. Look at the camber in the front wheel. When you have proper suspension bolts and everything, you can dial in pretty much 0 camber. You can drop your car pretty much as low as you want. This video is probably pretty long at this point, so hope you guys enjoy. If you aren't already subbed to Yostbuilt, click the sub button. If you want to be part of the notification gang, click the little notification symbol. And as always, have a good night.